Okay, people, you guys are getting ready to purchase a new construction home, but I need you to stop right here. There are some things that you are going to want to know before you start the process to make sure everything is going to go smooth, and I'm going to make sure I cover them all for you, okay? My name is Diante Lawrence, your real estate go-to here in the most magical place on the planet, Orlando, Florida. So let's get into new construction, and we're going to go from top to bottom with this. So let's start with before we even get into the property. So what you're going to want to know is when you reach out to me, I have connections in regards to what's going on in the market. I have relationships with a number of builders to where their reps actually reach out to me and let me know about inventory that's coming out before it even hits the market. And why that is beneficial to you is because you get first dibs on it. And oftentimes in those scenarios, we get a great deal on it, right? So for instance, if a contract is going to be falling out of place, my reps will reach out to me and say, hey, Diante, before this hits the market, do you have any clients in this area that are interested in this type of property? Which I'm then able to reach out to you and say, hey, Joe, hey, Samantha, we have this house, we have these incentives, do you want to jump on this? And we have that competitive advantage, okay? So if you guys did not know about new construction, I represent you as your agent. And why this is a benefit to you is, one, I do not cost you anything. And two, the builder pays me. You don't pay me, right? But I oftentimes get this question is, why am I gonna use a realtor? And you think you're gonna be able to get a discount by not using the realtor? The builder actually has money set aside for the realtor. And if you don't elect to use a realtor, the builder just keeps that money. It's not anything that is going to be allocated then to you. So I am like your representative because oftentimes, yes, the builder is there to help, but they're representing themselves. Me as your representative, I'm there from start to finish with you, explaining things like I'm explaining this to you as well. So as we go along in the process, what you're gonna wanna keep in mind is there's different type of new construction homes, and we'll talk about that when we have our consultation. But to keep it as elementary as possible, we'll go with the basics. So you have your spec home, and then you have what I like to call your dirt to roof home, which are your custom homes. So your spec homes are, hey, they are what they are. You're not going to be able to customize them too much, but they're ready to go a lot earlier than your custom homes. You can, expect anywhere between a 3 to 5 month window with your spec homes. Now, with your custom homes, those are a little bit longer. You guys are oftentimes those are their forever homes. So those can take up to a year, depending on the builder. So those are the different type of options that you're going to have. Now, as we work together and we're searching, I always tell my people, you guys continue to look. The more eyes we have out there, the better. Okay. Now, the one thing you have to keep in mind, anytime you talk to a builder representative, you have to let them know, hey, Diante is my realtor. Okay, that's the first thing, because if not, once again, I am not able to represent you. So you have to make sure, let them know I have a realtor, his name Diante, it's fine. Okay. Now, depending on the time of the month, the time of the year, we have different type of incentives, and each incentive differs depending on the builder, which we will talk about. And then on top of that, I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but keep in mind, this is all the things that we're going to know beforehand before we get into the process. Now, we're not always able to negotiate. Sometimes in the year, the realtor is like, the price is the price. We're not going down on the price. We'll move on to someone else. That can happen. What also can happen, what I like to say, towards the end of the year or towards the end of the builder's fiscal year, we really have great opportunities to where we can negotiate a little bit, especially with my reps that I have a great relationship with, because they know when I bring my people to them, they are extremely prepared and ready to go. So we're able to have that conversation, say, hey, shave about, 10, 15,000 off there, or hey, can you give us additional closing cost coverage and things of that nature. We're able to go back and forth. Now, our next phase, after we've kind of gone through the initial things, is we found a house. Depending on the builder, it's going to depend on how much down payment you're going to put down. Some builders will say, hey, 5,000, 10,000. Some builders require the whole entire, whether it's 10%, 20% down. So that's going to vary by builder. So once we go under contract, they're going to send electronic forms for you to sign. We're good to go. Now, at that time, they're going to give us an estimate. Okay, I want to emphasize estimate on the time that the home will close. So you're going to find out with new construction, things do happen sometimes, and it pushes the time back or sometimes in our favor forward. So what you're going to expect is, depending on where we're at, we're going to start from the dirt, right? So they're preparing our lot, right? They're laying the foundation, and then after that we have framing. Okay, so that takes anywhere between 2 to 3 to 4 months. Okay, guys. So once we get the framing, that's our major milestone. So oftentimes builders will have us come by. We'll take a look at it, kind of inspect things. They'll run kind of, hey, this is the timeline, the next timeline that we have to expect. You'll sign off. Okay, I'll see you in another 2 months. After that, they're getting the electrical, they're getting the insulation in there for us to, make sure that we're ready. And all throughout the process, the builder has people come out there inspecting, okay, to make sure it passes inspection. And oftentimes this can be a moment to where it slows down the timeline or it speeds up the timeline, depending how busy that county is. Now, once we've once again gone through the foundation, we've gone through the framing, we've gone through the insulation, we've gone through the electrical. Now we're getting into the HVAC, okay? Now we're getting into the drywall. And now we're getting into, this is the exciting part, when we're putting in the cabinets, okay? So once again, once the HVAC, once we get that drywall in, and once we get the cabinets, and you're gonna see why I'm emphasizing cabinets, once we get those in, we're cooking. We're cooking now, because oftentimes once the cabinets are installed, that is a good point to say, okay, typically 45 days from now, we're going to close on the house. All right. So that's a rule of thumb that you can really kind of go by, saying, okay, our cabinets are in, we can expect to close in the next month and a half. Now, once the cabinet's in, they're doing a little bit more of the details, right? They're painting, they're making sure all the odds and ends are checked off. They're making sure your landscape, your sprinklers, and all those things, the stuccos, are ready to go. What I always encourage my people to do, you do not have to do this, but I do strongly encourage you to have our third-party inspector come out to inspect the house once we have gone through these stages, okay? So our inspector will come out, he's gonna inspect the property, and he's gonna give us an inspection report. Why this inspection report is very important for us to have, because like I said, once those cabinets are installed, we have about 45 days left before we close. In between those 45 days, we're going to meet once again with the project manager for us to do what I like to call our blue tape challenge. And I'm sure you guys have seen this all throughout social media, where people are going through their houses, and the blue tape is typically where you take that blue tape, and any problem that you see in the house, you put the blue tape next to it. So why that inspection report is important, in addition to us seeing the stuff that we see, our inspector has been out there for 2+ hours inspecting the home. We're also able to add that inspection report, share that with the project manager, the pertinent things that we need to get fixed. We make sure that's included in what we want to have fixed before we close. So that's going to be kind of your pre-walkthrough before everything is finished. Now that we've had that final kind of pre-walkthrough and everything like that, we typically have about 10 or 15 days left, okay, before closing. They're going to be correcting, the builder that is going to be correcting all those things, all right? And then we're going to get to our exciting final walkthrough, where we're going to come in. Typically, I like to do the final walkthrough about 4 hours before we actually close on the property. So we're making sure that everything that we wanted them to fix is fixed. If it is not fixed, it's not the end of the world. Depending on what it is, I've literally seen them complete an entire bathroom from the time that we left the final walkthrough to closing. All right, so it's not the end of the world, okay? But we're going through the home, checking off everything is supposed to be done, and then we're signing off on that, okay? Then we're gonna go to closing, sign for about an hour, we're gonna get our keys, okay? Now, it's not over after that. What you need to keep in mind, post-close, this is a brand new home that was built by humans, all right? Something is going to go wrong. And I don't mean that to scare you, but it's true. And the beauty of this is we're covered. So majority of the builders, we have a 1 year, the builder that is, has a 1 year warranty that's gonna cover anything that goes wrong with the home for up to a year. If it goes wrong in the home, you submit a work order, they come and fix it, okay? After that, they have a 10-year structural warranty. So what that means is something goes wrong with your foundation, your truss, those major components that hold up the home, you are covered for 10 years. In addition to that, your appliances, your hot water heater, those individual companies, they'll have a card on those new appliances that we'll be able to call within 30 to 60 days, it often is, and you'll be able to call them to have a warranty on those appliances as well. So you have a number of protection mechanisms in place to fix anything that happens to come up while you're living in the home. And of course you have me. You guys will be able to shoot me a text, give me a call, any kind of concerns. I don't go anywhere. You know, my whole goal is to be your guy as long as you allow me to be your guy, which, you know, in my estimation is for the rest of our lives, right? So any questions you guys know, reach out to me, shoot me a call. This is the things that you guys need to know in regards to your new construction home. And it makes things so much smoother now that we have all these things covered. So always remember, in real estate, there are only 2 people that can get you exactly what you want, okay? That's D and you. Talk soon, guys.